We're back with Kaitlyn in studio. The last time we podcast with you was when, Michael? 2019.
I pulled it up because I was curious. We haven't seen you since 2019, April. That was before we had kids. Now we have 2.
Now you have 2. Yeah, a lot has happened since I saw you both.
Where were you? Okay. Why didn't you show up to the birth? I was waiting for you patiently.
I'm telling you that maybe not the birth, but the showers that you threw were
God.
Shower. I have to throw a sip and see.
No, he's done. He's done.
He's not done. He's not done.
She did enough showers and things for the first one. I'm like, you used it up for any other future child.
I mean, it really set the bar. I was like, when I have a kid, I'm going to give them a smash cake on their first birthday. They're not going to remember it. And then everyone looked at me. They're like, you are not going to. You're going to throw a circus parade around your neighborhood. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I am going to.
And also it's a moment to drink wine.
Yeah, you're right. I will take any opportunity to drink wine.
It's such a moment.
It is a moment.
Last time you were on our podcast, I was blacked out drunk from the night before. I think that is probably going to go down in history as one of my most hungover days of my life.
I mean, you did not look hungover. I just kept staring at your glowing skin and your number 27 lashes that you used to wear, the wispies. I don't know. And I was like, she doesn't even look hungover. It's not fair.
I was hungover.
Well, you looked great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so first question, because you just walked into studio with your best friend who's been working for you for 7 years.
Yes.
Working with you, I should say.
Yes.
Because my little sister works with me, not for me.
Mm-hmm.
How is that? What's the hack?
Well, Cleo's the most easygoing, positive, perfect human being on the planet, which she's saying no, she really is. Easiest person that I've ever been around in my whole life. Just very positive and has really brilliant ideas. She's very creative. Just so easy to build a relationship with her. And I feel like she's just always had this vision that aligns with mine. And we've both just wanted the same things. And it's been perfect.
So is this after The Bachelorette that you guys start working together?
After Bachelor. It was when I went on The Bachelor. When I came off, she was like, you've got a small window of opportunity here. You either sell flat tummy tea for 15 minutes or you build something bigger and say no to a lot of money right now to build something greater in the end. And I was like, yeah, let's do that.
What you've done so well that I'm so impressed with, your wine is now in Target, is you've had strategy and intention. Obviously, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. Is that something that you feel like has set you apart from other people that have been on the show?
Yeah, I think so. But I do credit my team for a lot of that because I probably would have done the same thing that they all did and not thought about it because I went from, making $100 in tips at a restaurant in the day to then being offered crazy amounts of money for a story post that I probably something that I would never use. But I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of money. But I do think, thanks to a lot of good people that were behind me, telling me, you don't want to do that if you want to build something greater. And I do think that's a common mistake people make when they come off TV is not thinking about the longevity of a career.
Or I feel like they go on with their main intention to get famous or be an influencer and people can smell it. I think what's so attractive about you is that you have the talent, you have the likability, and I just feel like you didn't have that desperate energy with it. People just
well, thank you because I was very desperate.
No, they love your podcast. You're just very personable.
Well, thank you for saying that. I feel like when I went on TV, that was my number one goal was to just not change who I was. Everybody that was my friends and family they knew who I was to my core. I'm very outgoing, quirky, weird. I'm kind of inappropriate. I drink a lot of wine and I was like, I just want to be that person. I want to I'll always get better as a human being every year and grow and evolve and mature. But I wanted to stay true to myself. And my whole family was like, well, we all think you're going to be the drunk girl night one. And you're probably going to get sent home. And I was like, well, if that's my legacy, I just really wanted to stay true to myself. And so throughout that process, I don't know why I found it so easy to do that with all these cameras around and people that I didn't know, but it was really important to me. And I just was like, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to be who I am. I don't want to come off TV and have my friends and family watch and go, oh, that wasn't you. I really wanted them to watch and be like, God, that's so
That's probably
Kaitlyn.
why you found it easy. Because you were just being yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Like I feel like it's such a hard thing. I mean, even like now you've done a
exhausting to try
podcast.
to be someone else.
Well, imagine like even doing a podcast for as long as you have or as long as
Right.
we have. Like if you tried to be someone else for this, there's no way.
It's true. And like Lauren said, people can smell it from a mile away. I really feel like through an Instagram or podcast, especially because you were talking for that amount of time, people can see through bullshit. And if you're just trying to sell something or if you're just trying to be somebody that you're not, I feel like more now than ever. But when I went on The Bachelor, that's when Instagram just first started to blow up. Like I remember going from Women Tell All off the stage, went to sleep and woke up with like 300,000 more followers. And I was like, what is this Instagram thing?
Damn.
What is happening? It was nuts. And it just kept going and going. And I was the first person in Bachelor Nation world ever to hit 1 million followers. And I was like, when does it stop? What do I do with this? Because it wasn't a thing then. It wasn't like you could build a career. You couldn't sell things. It wasn't, I didn't know what was happening. So that's probably now people know that you can get followers from it where you can, smell the desperation. But then I was like, what is this?
Why are you the most controversial Bachelorette?
Is that true? You have that title?
Yeah, she has the title.
I don't know if I do still.
This is what the research says, that you're the most. I mean,
Listen,
personally,
you
I
got-
fucking
listen,
love that.
let
I'm
me-
like down for that title.
And let
Oh,
me
me
tell you
too.
something about our researchers. They're sitting in a lab somewhere.
No.
They got all of these data points.
Extensive research.
I mean, I think that's what is another thing that makes you intriguing. You're the most controversial Bachelorette, they said.
I do like that. I will take that title
Take
and
it.
wear it with pride because I don't know. I think it's because I wasn't what the Bachelorette usually is. Like they usually take the girl next door or like your all-American sweetheart. And I was, this edgy Canadian who was making like fart jokes and like saying dumb shit all the time. And I was kind of offside and inappropriate. And everyone was like, oh, they'd never make her the Bachelorette. She's not like all the other girls. And I think that gave, I don't know, the impression that I was controversial, not to add to it, but I also had sex with more than one person in the fantasy suite and talked about it. And I think that was like, whoa, to, the Bachelor Nation viewers. And I was like, what? Why are we not talking about sex? Like, I'm a 29 at the time year old woman. Why would I not talk about sex in a relationship? And I think people were like not used to a Bachelorette talking like that. And to be just, I was like, well, isn't that part of a relationship? If I'm going to marry this guy, he better be good in the sack. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I always found the premise of that show kind of strange. Like you're just supposed to get married without trying the goods. I mean,
Got to test drive the car.
yeah, maybe
know?
a few times.
You
Yeah.
test drove the car like 2 months. I was like, what?
I had to really be sure. I had to get into every kind of nook and cranny and make sure that this is.
That was enough is enough is enough is enough.
Listen, I had to analogy. I was checking the windshield wipers. I was checking the blinkers.
Making
I was-
sure the fluid was
yeah,
filled up, the
I was-
engine was running.
Yeah, for sure.
Brakes.
Question everyone wants to know is discuss the whole Dancing with the Stars thing. Because there's a timeline of that.
Oh gosh, yes.
Like go back and discuss.
What the hell happened with Dancing with the
Oh
Stars?
yeah,
Well, I'm gonna learn something
Michael
now.
loves juice.
This is actually
love the juice.
crazy. I too love the juice.
Nobody
And
ever gives me the juice, so when I get a
Well,
little
I'm
bit, I'm
about
like
to
dehydrated.
deliver.
All right,
Wine.
let's-
He loves
let's-
the rosé.
Let's
I
do
hope
it.
you're thirsty. So when I came off from being the Bachelorette, Dancing with the Stars approached me and asked me to come on the show. And this was 2016. And I was like, dream come true. I grew up dancing. My mom was a professional ballerina. Dancing was my passion. When I was 26, I had to give up on dancing and I chased a hockey player. And I always felt like I was supposed to be a dancer. And so I was like, this is my chance. I'm going to be a dancer and I'm going to do it. And again, it was good money. And I was like, this is so exciting. Signed all the paperwork. And, I'm a rookie in the TV world. I didn't know I had to run it by ABC. I didn't know I was still under a contract. And they were going to announce me. I was going to fly out to New York the next morning to go on Good Morning America to be announced. And the creator of The Bachelor said, actually, no, you're not going to do that. I've decided. And I was like, what? And he was like, no, I'm sick of people going on that show for fame after this show. And I was like, yeah, but a lot of the Bachelors have done it. Why can't I? I've already agreed to it. And he said, I said, dancing is a passion of mine. And he said, well, Sean should be your passion. And I was like,
Michael is not my passion.
right?
Wait, okay, so back up. So this guy, this producer,
Sean should be your
That's
passion.
what he said.
meaning like Sean, the Bachelor,
The guy that I was engaged to.
should be
The
over.
guy that she was engaged to should be her passion.
And I said, you have a newborn baby and you run a huge television show. You tell me I can't have more than one passion. And he goes, my answer is no, Kaitlyn, you're not doing it. And he said, no, he said, mark my words, nobody from this franchise will do that show again. And I said, okay. And so I cried and I wrote emails and I tried to like let them see how much I like was excited about it. And Sean even wrote them emails being like, I will support her. I'm not like, we can make this work. And then after I finished being the Bachelorette, they had Ben Higgins on. And when he was done, they said, do you want your own TV show or do you want to go and Dancing with the Stars? And he picked his own TV show. Nick Viall went on after to be the Bachelor and they said, do you want to go on Dancing with the Stars? He did it. And so then I raised hell on Twitter and I called out the creator of the show. And then it was a whole mess. And then everybody.
What happened to that?
That was pretty much, Nick went on. And then after that, I can't remember if anyone else went on after that, but it had been a few years. I can't remember if anyone else from Bachelor went on, but people had been rioting for me to go on this show ever since that.
So what do you think this guy didn't want you on there so bad for?
I don't know, but I think that's because everything was kind of going in the direction of people wanting fame after this show. And I think he wanted to keep that under control.
I'll say it for you. I think that he wanted his own control over women.
Yes.
That's what it sounds like to me.
And that is, I don't know why I'm beating around the bush because I literally said it on Twitter. I've called him out so many times and we're in a better place now. But at the time I was like, he just doesn't like strong opinionated women who have power. And he wanted to keep me small. And he really did come around and him and Rob Mills, they were like, okay, you know what? Let's give her this opportunity. We held her back and let's give her that chance now. And
let me ask you this for someone who's ignorant. When you go on something like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette and you sign something like that, for people that are wondering, like how long do they have say over what you do? Because I think that, listen, there is a part that obviously they play in giving you this massive platform and driving a shitload of attention that maybe you wouldn't have had without the platform, right? Like we acknowledge that. But like how long do they then kind of control derivatives or rights to your life?
So it's a year and then they can have the option to renew it for 6 months or another year after that. But basically your NDA is lifelong for certain things. But like contract to, if I could do a show, like 2 years later, I could have done it when my contract was up. But
okay, so this fell into like the year window.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, so just a timeline. This is after you hosted The Bachelor.
This was before that.
This is before. So then my question is, how did you go from that and calling him out on Twitter to then hosting The Bachelorette?
Well, I think he saw.
This guy said, oh shit, I'm getting called out on Twitter.
Yeah, I think he saw maybe the backlash or the power of all of my followers who were like,
I am in hot water here. I got to make a left turn strong.
Yeah, crank up the cold water. I am in the hot stuff. Yeah, he literally was like, oh, you know what? I see the power of her audience and it only helped them. You know what I mean? Like it got all of the people who wanted to see me on, it got them voting for the show. ABC's under their network. They're all in the same family. And then I think they saw how loyal my following has been since I've come off the show. So to bring that audience back to Bachelor World, I think was important to them because, The Bachelor has been on for, 20, I don't know how many years, 23 years? I think I don't know. It's a crazy amount of time.
Wow.
And it's hard to keep your audience for that long when you're doing the same format over and over and over again. And I think they wanted to like spice it up. And, they had gotten rid of Chris Harrison, which was a whole controversial thing. But yeah.
What happened to him again? Or are we not allowed to talk about that? What happened to him?
Well, he made... It was in the like heat of cancel culture. He definitely fucked up. He definitely did.
Oh,
he will say that.
He did fuck up, but they railroaded him quick, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I remember hearing.
Is there any redemption for him right now? Is he doing anything or you don't know?
I don't know. I saw him
He was in that moment of time when it was like, we're not taking any chances. Everybody's out.
Yeah, gone.
I remember that.
I don't know I saw him at Wells and Sarah Hyland's wedding and he didn't, I don't know if he's keeping something hush hush. I don't know if he has something planned, but he's doing just fine.
Hopefully he has his redemption moment. But like, I feel like he got canceled and railroaded, but maybe he can have a moment where he redeems himself. You know,
people are definitely upset that he's not the host anymore. And a lot of people aren't watching anymore because of that.
I really, really liked your season. I think I like I pick and choose different seasons. Like,
Yeah,
I don't watch
same.
every single one. I just pick. It's kind of like Housewives, you know? You don't like every single one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Who do we don't like? Can we just throw someone in the bus, say their season sucked, or we like everybody?
You know what's so funny is I've enjoyed a lot of seasons. There are ones that are more boring than others, but from Bachelorettes, I can't think of one who I was like, that was a fucking terrible Bachelorette. I can't think of one. Bachelors, I can name a few, but
All right. A little media train, but all right. Good.
I loved Emily.
Emily was my favorite Bachelorette.
She's adorable.
Yeah.
And I loved when Shane Lamas won.
Oh, that was back in the day.
Rachel.
Oh, and don't date us here, all right?
Oh,
Talk
you know
about a
who
current
I
one.
watched? This is going to date me. Trista.
Oh, yeah. It's her 50th birthday
Wow.
at the end of November. And we're
She
going.
looks great.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And she's just a light. Like, she's amazing.
When did you realize that you were falling for Jason? Like, what was the epiphany moment where you were like, oh my God, I can't believe this. I'm falling for Jason. And he was also on this franchise.
Yeah. Well, it was definitely not right away, which I've talked about a lot, but so I had him on my podcast and I just I was like, he's got a really good personality. He comes from a good family. He's super like charming and well-spoken and he's smart. But I was like, no Bachelor people in my life. Absolutely not. I'm not dating one, not because I'm above it, just because I was jaded by it. And so when I podcasted with him, I just kept trying to think of someone in my mind for him to date. Like I was still processing a breakup with Sean. And so I was like, who can I set him up with? What a great guy. This guy's going to be so good for somebody. Like, who can I set him up with? And then I was messaging producers being like, you got to make this guy the Bachelor. And he walked out of my podcast, called his mom and said, I just met my future wife. And I called the producers being like, you need to make him the Bachelor. And then we just kept talking and he was like helping me with financial goals and I was helping him figure out Instagram. He was posting where like there was still like black on top and bottom on the Instagram grid. And I was like, help me, help you. And so then he sent me a picture of a girl. And he's like, this girl really wants to take me on a date. This was months later. Should I go on a date with her? And I was like, no. And then that was the moment I realized, oh, I think I like him more than just a friend.
You guys, I feel like, too, are like Michael and I, you're opposite personality.
We're so opposite.
He seems more like Michael, like type A, organized, and you seem more like me, like
Must
go
be
with
an
the
incredible
flow.
guy.
Yes.
I've actually talked to Jay. He is an incredible guy. I like
Well, there
Jason
you
a lot.
go.
Like you seem like you love having your own business, but you go with the flow.
Yeah, very much so. He wouldn't agree with that, though.
Oh,
He wouldn't say I'm go with the flow, but I am.
I feel like you're easygoing.
I'm the most easygoing
So why does he not think that?
because I don't know if I am with his schedule. Like, I don't know if I'm easygoing when it comes to the things that he
Maybe
is
because he's like so turbo.
so turbo.
Yeah, I get that.
What time
Yeah.
does he wake up in the morning?
4 a.m.
Oh, come on,
I
Jason.
swear, sometimes it's 3:45 and his brain just starts going. At other times it's 8, but like he wakes up early, his brain doesn't stop.
That's perfect, though, when you have kids, because let me give you a tip.
Oh,
You
I
want
thought
to
about
be
that.
with someone who wakes up early so you
Mhm.
can sleep in. So, like, I love when Michael's like, I'm going to wake up at 5:30. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Go wake up at 5:30. Get all your energy out.
Yeah.
Let me sleep until 7. It's actually very nice to have them wake up early.
But do you hold it against her if she sleeps in?
No.
Okay, great.
No, I look at it as like if
He doesn't want
he's
me to
probably
be
the same
awake.
way. Like it's like the time when like the kids are asleep,
Yeah.
the dogs are asleep, my wife's asleep, the house is quiet, nobody's calling me,
It's your
nobody's
time.
even, it's the time. It's
Okay,
like
that's fair.
nobody's
Does
there.
Jason want you to, I call it emotional residency.
Tell me more.
Okay, emotional residency is when someone has an emotion.
Yeah.
So say they're angry about something or they're really excited about something and they want you to match that emotion. So like if he's super this morning, we're driving to the gym and he's talking like he smoked crack.
Well, I've been up for 5 hours.
Okay,
You know?
I haven't. I just meditated. I haven't had coffee yet.
Yes.
I got to get to the gym. I
Yeah.
need a minute. And
Yeah.
he wants to talk about what we're doing in 2024.
Yes.
How many kids he wants to have, what stock should he, and I'm just like, I can't. He wanted me to match his energy and like, I just can't.
Jason doesn't necessarily want me to match his energy. He doesn't care if my energy is there or not. He's talking about that. But that's what it is. Like very much like we had to have a conversation the other day because I'm like you. I need to wake up. I need to have my meditation. I need to have my coffee. I need to like slowly start my day. And I just can't jump into business. And he'll wake up. And one time he was literally in the bath. He loves a bath. He was in the bath and I was in bed. And I woke up and I just like looked at my phone and I had like a checklist from him of like what needs to be done for like work and certain things. And I was like, good morning. Like, what? But that's just how his brain goes. Like, the turbo is such a perfect word to describe that. And I'm just like, I mean, sometimes I can hit turbo, sometimes not a lot, but I'm just like, I need to get there eventually. I don't just hit turbo as soon as I wake up, and he does.
Well, Lauren thinks that I want her to match my, what is it, emotional residency? No, I just like sometimes want to feel like I'm not talking to a dead moth. You know what I mean? Like,
I am a dead moth until 10:30.
It's
learn
early,
it, live
to-
it, love it, tattoo it.
I want you to blink back and tell me you're alive in the morning. You know what I mean?
I need my minerals, my vitamins. Like I tell him, I'm like, wake me up like a cat. It's like a slow process. I don't want to be like it's cortisol. The way you wake up.
I will say that once I really like set him, I don't want to say set him straight, but once I was like, look, I can't do this. I cannot wake up and have a to-do list. I need this. I was like, you do this a lot and I really need you to. Then he started like easing back and like sometimes he'll bring a coffee to the side table of the bed in the morning. And I'm like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. He like knows now, bring her a coffee. And, you know, everyone thinks I might be a bitch when I wake up, but I'm not. I just need some time and coffee. And you know what? Why do we think men are so like in authority if they wake up and they're in like business mode? But if I woke up and did that, I'd be a bitch.
I know. You can't win,
No,
can you?
no,
If you wake up slow, like it's not good enough. But if you wake up fast, then you're a diva.
The secret is that us men actually like that check. Like I need her to check me like that sometimes, right? Because I'll sometimes start going off the rail and doing my own thing.
Yeah.
It's, you know, like they'd have that check, like shut up, get me the coffee and calm down. I'm like, oh yeah, like okay, like like reset. You know?
How hard is it to bring a coffee in bed too? Why is it every morning? It's this. Where is my coffee? Like it's just so. Set an alarm.
Yeah, just that one extra little step. When you make yours, make mine too.
I'm having a rough time with it.
Guess what?
I made
Today I
mine
had
3
to
hours earlier.
FaceTime him to show me how to work the coffee machine. It's so easy. Just literally, I don't care if it gets cold. It's the act.
Yes.
Here's where, okay, if you don't care it gets cold, because that's my thing. I
don't care if it gets cold. I'm going to say this on air 100 times. I don't care.
Yeah.
All right. Fine.
All right.
Easy.
Fine.
Good.
Everyone wants to know, do you still talk to Chris? Do you still talk to Nick? And do you still talk to Sean?
Okay.
What if she's like, I'm talking to all of them all the time?
All of them, and I don't want this to be on air. No, I'm just kidding. Chris Harrison I did not talk to for a minute because I think I actually
Souls.
Oh, Chris. Oh, I thought you meant Chris Harrison. Okay, Chris Souls. Yes. Only if he's like, I wouldn't call him or text him. He was at the same wedding as me. We chatted, but that's pretty much it. Nick, once in a while, sometimes we talk about podcast stuff or like a congratulations on your book launch or get, you know, Nick, I feel like has this with everybody, is a love-hate relationship. Like a lot of people can like be like, you're annoying, but we somehow still like you. But I feel like he knows that. He knows that. And Sean, I honestly, we spoke, I don't know how long ago, probably years. Like when we broke up, we cut off all communication. And then he texts Cleo. I don't know if I've ever said this. He texts Cleo and said, hey, finally, this is like 2 years after we broke up. And he goes, I'm finally unpacking some boxes from our breakup. And it looks like Kaitlyn forgot to pack my Nintendo.
Oh, I know that trick. That's the old, I'm unpacking some boxes and trying to get in with you trick.
But why wouldn't he text me and say the Nintendo?
Because it's like a quick, easy way to like get a conversation going.
But I think he genuinely hates me. So I don't know if he was trying to get back in. I think he was just like,
maybe he had a product launching and he wanted you to talk about it on the podcast.
Maybe. I don't know.
Guys do that a lot.
Oh, and a guitar.
Yeah. My ex-boyfriend was like, did you have that button up that's brown? I'm like, what are you? No.
What if this entire time he's like sitting upstairs in an attic painting you every night?
I'm going to write a Taylor Swift-ish song about how he wanted his Nintendo back, like the scarf.
That would be a good
You
song.
always got to leave something behind just in case you need to get back.
You did write a song.
I did.
Tell us about the song.
Well, I've written 4, but I've only released 2. I want to release my 3rd. I don't have time to go record it. And it takes, my voice is not like freaking Carrie Underwood. I'm not like a great singer. I can sing. And so it takes me a lot of voice lessons to like warm up my vocals and actually have muscle memory to remember how to sing properly. It actually takes me a long time to get there. Then once I get there, I'll record the song, but I just don't have time. But the first song I wrote, I released it after Sean and I went through the breakup, and it's called If I'm Being Honest. And it was kind of like a song about how I always try and act tough. Like I'm always on Instagram being like, yeah, I'm strong and I'm confident. But it's basically like, I'm not always as tough as you think I am. And I have my moments and I drink a lot of wine and blah, blah, blah. But it was just a song about like, well, if I'm being honest, this sucks. Yeah.
So what I like about what you've done after these shows is you've created businesses. You've created your wine brand. You have Duet It.
Mm-hmm.
I pronounced it right?
You did.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Because
you did. No, everybody says Dude It, which I actually think is hilarious and I don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I've always looked at it as Duet It. So I'm glad that I pronounced it right.
You did.
And you're writing songs. Like you're also very active on social media. How are you moving?
And you've kept a podcast for years now.
Yeah, and your podcast crushes it. So how
you.
have you managed to balance all of that? And what is the strategy moving forward since there isn't this show that you can sort of use the platform on?
Yeah. I have thought about this so many times. Does being on TV keep me relevant? Or like, am I at a place now where I can just keep going on my own with my businesses and focus on those instead of trying to do other things to keep me in this one place? But I have had so many burnouts and meltdowns, and I sometimes don't know how I do all of this because there are times when I'm just like, I get really bad hormonal depression. Like I can't get up out of bed. I'm like in tears. I'm like really crippled with anxiety. And those are the times where I'm like, I don't know how I'm doing this and I don't know how I can do it or keep going. And there are times where I'm like, I should just stop. And then the next day I'm literally like the Energizer Bunny. I'm like, why am I not doing anything? Let me go get on a plane and go somewhere and work. And why is this not happening in this? And I get all creative. It's literally like depending on the cycle of my period. It's bizarre. So I've just kind of learned to kind of be really in tune with my body of what phases I'm in my month and when I am like the most creative, when I need to rest, when I need to work, when I'm like, it's crazy how much that can help. So I feel like I'm more in tune with where I'm at in my days and my life and how I'm feeling. And that helps me be on track. Having an incredible team really helps me because they kind of pick up the pieces when I fall apart. But I just think I've realized like all growing up, I thought I was not lazy, but I thought like I didn't have any goals. I was like, why have I not gone to school? Why am I chasing a hockey player? Why am I just like doing things for other people and nothing for myself? And then once I had this platform, I didn't even realize how much of an entrepreneur I was or wanted to be. And I just love working. Like I never thought I would say that, but it's because I was never doing something that I love to do. And now I'm like, I love it. I love podcasting. I love getting on every single call with Target wine buyers and the distributors and meeting new people and learning about the wine business and creating products for Duet It. And I just love everything I'm doing. So I think that helps to be able to keep going and not burn out. But I do burn out at least once a month.
When you burn out, what do? I throw my phone in the gutter.
I just cry a lot. I feel like I just curl up in a ball. Cleo could probably say, yeah, I'll sleep and I'll just cry and sleep through like a few days and then I'm perfectly fine again.
I feel like when you're an entrepreneur, you have to have those moments where you recharge. I'm reading this book. It's like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of them is like, it's, and I'm going to like flub it, but it's, you have to know when to step back and stop so you can recharge to be even more turbo.
Yes, I have always done that without realizing it. I always just thought like I was failing when I took those steps back and like rested. I was like, why am I needing to do this? Like, I hate that hustle culture. I feel like you're so right. You need to take that step back. And I always did, but I always felt guilty about it. Now I give myself complete permission to lay in bed for days, cry it out. And then I find that I'm like, Oh,
I
that's
think,
all I needed.
I think the difficulty with being an entrepreneur, and I think about like school like this is, you go through school and you have a project, and once the project's over, it's done and it's complete, and you're kind of like, that's finished. And I think the difficulty when you're an entrepreneur, and I correlate entrepreneur as opposed to working at a company or someone, because you never really have the moment where it's like, oh, that's done, and I don't have to do anything else.
Yeah.
Like it, and the reason being is like, this entity is kind of like living and breathing and going and going and going. And if you stop, like it just dies. And if it dies, there's other people that are in that entity that are affected by it. So it's like, you never really have that. So I think you got to find moments where you're like kind of like taking breaks and finding time for yourself, because there is never like an end point unless you actually quit.
What's really helped me is, and I just started doing this and it's been life-changing, is putting creative blocks on my calendar so no one can book over those blocks. Like I'll put writing time, or I'll put like Lauren's block creative time, because before I was like letting my assistant like sort of like just put wherever she wanted 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is it's just like, oh, there's free time. But if you block it and create boundaries around it, I think that makes you more effective.
So my assistant actually knows, she has my period in her calendar. And she knows when I'm in certain phases and when to like give me those blocks.
Grace.
Yes, it's my period of grace time. And I will try not book like photo shoots or certain things around that, because I was like, I know how I function in that time. And it is the smartest thing I've ever done, is give myself those few days to recharge. And it's like proven in your body that when you're in certain phases of your cycle, you're more creative. So I'm like, that's my time.
I feel like too, what is so valuable about doing that and creating space is you get deep work. Like you can take those 2 hours and you can dive so deep, and then you can be pulled out of it.
Yeah.
What do you think has made your Instagram account a place that is so open and real and vulnerable? Because I know you started a hashtag.
The Realstagram?
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk about why you did that, if you're still doing that, and how it's been perceived.
So I started that because I grew up in the dance community, and my mom, like I said earlier, was a professional ballerina. And I think we all do it, where we do the comparison thing on Instagram, and we all think like, well, that girl has the perfect this, and she has this, and I want this, and she's doing this right now, and I want that. And we all compare. And I was going down the Instagram suck hole of like comparison. And my whole life I've struggled with body dysmorphia, feeling like I'm not enough, comparing myself to others. I remember standing in a ballet studio in the mirror and being like, okay, let's all compare bodies. And we would stand in a row and be like, okay, I want your boobs. My hips are like this. And we'd stand there and all compare. And I found myself doing that on Instagram. And I was like, I am so sick of this Instagram highlight reel. I'm going to just put it felt exhausting to be always putting myself on and done up and filtered. And so I was like, it's fun to do that. It's the same reason I do Botox. I get filler, I color my hair, I put on makeup. I like doing that, but I wanted to mix in something real, because I was sick of scrolling on my Instagram and not seeing anything that was relatable. And I kind of pride myself on being relatable. And I was like, well, I'm not showing up like that on Instagram. And so I was like, hey, wait, this is actually what I look like without a filter and without my makeup. And like, this is what I look like most days. And I did like a hashtag Realstagram. And I have been friends with this girl, Erin Trelaw, for years. And I used to work, like, she didn't pay me. It was a non-for-profit organization called Raw Beauty Talks. And she has, struggled on her own journey. And now she helps others with their body image and intuitive eating and just like living a more well-balanced life. And I had worked with her for so long. I was like, why don't I use my platform to help other people with what I've struggled with, and with Raw Beauty Talks? And I kind of like opened up that floodgate, which I didn't know so many people were going to respond to. And so many people were like, oh my gosh, thank you for doing this. And I'm like, oh gosh. And then I started loving myself more. I was like, yeah, and by the way, I got cellulite too. And then everyone was like, you do? And I was like, yeah. And then it just kind of turned into this thing. And so, yeah, I still try and do it. I struggle with doing it a lot, because sometimes I don't know how much people want it. Like, I was talking to Jonathan Van Ness. I listened to him on your guys' podcast too. I was talking to him about showing your highs and lows on Instagram. And I'm like, do people even want to see your lows? Like, it's fun to share the highlight reel. Do people want to see the lows? So I try and balance and show some real stuff, talk about real stuff, do the done up stuff, the glam stuff, show, more behind the scenes and raw, real footage and stuff. But yeah, I was really happy with how the community responded to it because it was like, oh,
People loved it.
yeah.
And everyone is asking me, this is so crazy. When you tell me you struggle with body dysmorphia, that's wild to me because everyone asks me how you stay in shape and how you look so
That's
amazing.
funny.
This is important conversation though, because people just look at you and they think, oh, she's slim, she's toned, she doesn't have anything to worry about. And you're here saying that, oh my God, I used to like measure in ballet class whose hip was more tight.
Yeah.
So everyone wants to know. I have to ask you.
Yeah.
Diet, health, fitness. You drink a lot of wine.
I do.
I think you
I
look
do.
fucking amazing.
Thank you.
I'm in the midst of losing 20 pounds. You got to give us some secrets.
Oh, well, you don't need to lose 20 freaking pounds, but I understand that. I don't understand because I've never had a child, but I can only imagine how you go from your body being a certain way and then it changing so much. And
It's a lot.
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
I can only imagine. And this is why I took an 8-week intuitive eating course from Raw Beauty that I was just talking about. But that was after I've done a lot of healing work with therapy. But I don't try and limit myself. Like I eat McDonald's once a week. I freaking love McDonald's.
What's your order? Number one?
Okay, I know this is weird. It's a weird one.
No, I want to hear it.
I like fish fillet.
Oh,
I know.
Caitlyn, fish fillet.
I know.
Listen, the fish fillet is
It's bomb.
So-
Does Jason put up with the fish fillet in his car? I feel like he's not a fish fillet kind of guy.
He's not, but he'll put up with it. I love the fish fillet, no cheese, add shredded lettuce and extra large fries.
Should I try it? It's gonna sound
Dude,
good
it's
now.
so good.
the last time I had like a job. I was like 15. It
Yeah.
was McDonald's. I crushed McDonald's. I crushed the drive-through. I slipped a lot. I did the
There's
front
something
thing.
in their soda too. Like what is?
Hey, when
their
I
fountain
when
soda
I
is so
worked
good.
there, I got addicted. Like because there's something in it. But
There's
it's called
nothing better
It's called
than-
MSG, but
Yeah, it's called MSG.
A
Yeah.
cheeseburger, just cheese and meat, Happy Meal, fries with a small Diet Coke, and then an extra burger.
Oh no, try the McKaitlyn. It's a cheeseburger, and then you put fries on the cheeseburger, and then you take McChicken sauce, which is mayonnaise, and you put it on the fries that are on the burger, and then you eat it like that. Ugh, it's so good.
I'm craving McDonald's.
Well, you should go try the McKaitlyn.
give us some health and wellness tips.
Oh yeah, okay.
there's nothing
So-
wrong with crushing a number one or was it number two still two cheeseburger meal? Like nothing wrong when you're hungover, feeling a little tired. Like,
I think you just have to listen to your body, and I know that sounds so stupid, but I work out. I do probably 4 times a week. I try and lift actually. Like the other day, I was like so proud of myself because I could deadlift 125 or 35 pounds.
That's good.
That's a lot.
strong.
Yeah. I'm like, I really like lifting weights. It makes me feel good mentally, physically. I like feeling strong. I try and just overall eat healthy, but I also am like, well, I'm going to have the pasta if I'm out at an Italian restaurant. I'm going to drink the wine. I just try and not beat myself up for it. And I try to not go to the gym based on what I ate. Like, oh, I ate McDonald's yesterday. I better work out extra hard today because I find that in my body, stress actually does the worst things to me.
The worst. That's
The
why I
worst.
can't do those classes that are like they're yelling at you with the loud music. Like I need to lift weights too and just like walk in between. Like I can't
Well,
when
I
it's too
think
crazy. It's too much cortisol.
I think it's why so many people struggle when there's such a fixation on like body or self or food because you're so stressed that you're making it, even if you're doing all the right things, you're whacking your hormones so out of balance that it makes it impossible to get the results you want.
It's actually true. I just had someone on my podcast talk about this where it's like the stress and the cortisone and the hormone levels that go out of whack when you're trying to diet and like going on all these fad diets is actually doing your body more harm, and your body's going to hang on to more of like the fats that you don't want because you're not giving yourself the proper nutrition.
Oh, my first baby. Afterwards, all I did was worry, and it took so long, and I gained 60 pounds.
Well, we all have those
It took
friends
so
where it's
long
like,
to fall off. And this one, I'm just like trying to be more zen about it.
Yeah.
It's falling off faster.
but we have
See?
those
Yeah.
friends that like they never worry and everything, and they're in the greatest shape. And you're like, what do you do? Like, why are you like you don't really pay attention to this stuff? How are you in shape? It's probably because they don't have the stress and they're just.
And
they get
that
a
took
little
me a
balance.
long time to get there. I'm luckily never had an eating disorder, but I definitely had disordered eating. So I remember when I moved away from home for the first time, I used to just eat whatever the heck I wanted. I danced 6 days a week. And then when I moved off on my own, I was going to Starbucks in the morning getting like a white mocha frappuccino. I'd have like Eggo waffles for breakfast. I didn't know how to like nourish myself. Yeah, nourish myself. And I gained weight and I'd never gained weight in my life. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I went home and you could tell that people were like, oh, like it was like a significant amount. I remember feeling so much shame around that. And I was like, okay, well, all the things I've been telling myself are true. I am fat and I do look gross. And I started having this disordered eating. And when I was about 26 and completely lost myself around 27, and I was in the worst place of my life, that's when I started doing therapy and working on myself and realizing, well, of course I have this disordered eating. I grew up in this environment and
dancing probably a lot.
Oh my gosh,
Ballet.
a lot of it. And so I still have to, I call it like, I think of my body like a house. When I bought a house, I thought, oh my gosh, I bought a house. I'm set up for success now. And I didn't realize that every month there's going to be a project to do, or you have to there's maintenance somewhere. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad and things fall apart and you have to put it back together. And then I was like, okay, my body is my home. Sometimes I'll look in the mirror and I'll start grabbing like barely like skin. And then I'll go, stop it, Kaitlyn. Like, you know what these thoughts are. Now I have the tools to like stop myself, bring myself back to reality and not go down a suck hole of all these thoughts and feelings. And I just think like every day is different. There's going to be something to work on either mentally or physically or whatever I'm feeling. It's always going to be an ongoing project. I'll still have to work on myself when I'm 80 years old and thinking about like the wrinkles that are going to be on my face. Like I have dysmorphia even in my face. That's why I get Botox. That's why I'm like, symmetry is a crazy thing for me. And I want to do, and I have to reel myself in a lot of times when this happens to me, because otherwise I can go to a very dark place.
Also, I think sometimes when you fix one thing, then it actually makes the other thing stand
100%.
out more, which is so crazy.
1000%. I have noticed that. There's things on my body that I used to fixate on, which now they don't even bother me, but I've found something else.
Right.
And then if I fix that, it'll be something else. And I've done that. And people give me shit all the time for my face looking botched. And I get the plastic
in person,
shit all the time.
and on Instagram too, but in person, your face does not, anyone that says your face looks botched can suck a dick. Your face does not look botched. You look beautiful.
Well, thank you.
You look young. You look youthful.
Thank you.
You're glowing.
I feel young and youthful.
What are you working on? You're in Nashville, correct?
Yeah.
What are you and Jason working on? Your wine is in Target.
Yes.
In Austin and anywhere else.
It's in Texas, all of Texas.
That is so cool, you guys.
Yeah. I'm very excited.
Yeah, tell us all the things that you're doing right now. What's happening for you?
So we're trying to get the wine everywhere. I want it in all Targets everywhere. It's going to be rolling out in Florida soon. And then you can get it online as well. And there's a lot of grocery stores, liquor stores. Like there's ones in Nashville. There's ones all over the place that carry it. You can just go to our website, spadeandsparrows.com, and type in where you live and see if our wine's there. But you can get it all online. I've been the most proud of the wine lately. I feel like, I don't know, it's just something, like when people try it, I don't have one little doubt in my mind that they won't say like, that's the best rosé I've ever had. I'm obsessed with it. And I just feel like everyone that goes to Target to buy it, they're like, oh, I heard about Kaitlyn's wine. And I think a lot of people would probably think it's probably shitty wine. I would, if somebody came off, a TV show and all of a sudden had wine, I'd be like, it's probably not that good. I have all the confidence in the world that you'll like the wine. And I've just worked really hard at getting it into Target and into these stores. And it's so fun.
How do you drink so much wine and not get hungover? I get hungover.
So our wine specifically all has really low sugar.
Okay.
And
love to hear it.
Yes. Low sugar. The rosé and the white have low sugar, low calorie, low alcohol. And that actually helps significantly. Like I could drink a bottle of the wine and not have a hangover in the morning.
No way.
Swear to you. I swear to you.
I'm going to do a test.
Okay.
If I drink a bottle of this rosé and don't have a hangover.
Do you get a hangover easily?
I literally will get hungover off 3 sips.
No.
I get hungover so easily. I don't know if it's postpartum. Like
okay,
in
we'll
hormones.
try. Maybe start with a glass. Maybe don't have the whole bottle if you get hungover.
No, I like a glass of wine. I like a tequila. I like to drink. I'm just saying, like, I don't know what it is with me. I can feel it the next morning.
That's terrible. I am like an anomaly. I don't get hungover rarely ever. But I think that's because I drink a lot of wine. Like my body's like, I feel hungover if I don't drink.
Oh my God.
I really do. It's so weird.
Kaitlyn, we're going on your podcast. Where can everyone find your podcast? You, all the things. Where can they shop?
Well, I mean, I have that link tree in my bio on my Instagram. I feel like you can find everything there. But my Instagram is just Kaitlyn Bristowe, same with TikTok, Twitter, all of the things. But spadeandsparrows.com, do edit. And then my podcast is Off the Vine and Grape Therapy. And it comes out Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that's wherever you find podcasts.
Do you want to do a do edit giveaway?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love to.
I don't know if we can send wine, but.
Well, it depends what state they're in. If they're in Utah, no.
Okay. Okay, don't enter if you're in Utah.
Can you give away wine? I don't know.
Okay, well, we're going to do a Kaitlyn a basket.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I would love that.
So all you have to do is follow
at Kaitlyn Bristowe.
Okay.
And Spade and Sparrows and Do Edit.
Okay. Follow all those and tell us your favorite part of this episode on my latest Instagram at Lauren Bostic. We are going on Kaitlyn's podcast right now, so you guys have to go listen to that. If you want to get vintage, you can go back and listen to Kaitlyn, Michael, and I when I was blacked out hungover in 2020.
I want to go back and listen to that.
And then we did an interview like so vintage at podcast 1.
You were
oh my gosh,
you were
yeah,
on episode 68 of ours back in 2017. It was, and I remember because we just left podcast 1 and you just joined and we did it, I think remote or something.
Wait, I did your guys' podcast from my car after I was on The Bachelorette. Like really shortly after I was on The Bachelorette, I was sitting waiting for my sushi and did your podcast. And I remember being like, what is a podcast? And you asked me, you said, what do you do for your skincare? And I was like, huh?
And then I asked you in my book too.
Yes. And I went, do people really care? And you're like, they really do. And then I realized, yeah, people do care. And I started to care.
See, people care. People care.
Yeah.
Man, this is vintage.
So vintage. We go way back.
Kaitlyn, thank you for coming on. Come back anytime.
Thank you for having me.